What's up, guys? It's Brian from HASHFLARE Hub. It's about 4:50 p.m. Eastern Time, January 27, 2018. We're coming to you with another Bitcoin trading video. This one's going to be specifically on Bitcoin, like I had said. And this is the second one of today. This is like an afternoon video, or say an early evening, maybe even an evening update. Easy for me to say, depending on where you live. But this is, I think, worthwhile talking about. So this is the daily chart, and what I did is I've started cleaning things up a bit, to say the least. And what I've done is I've actually gone ahead and kind of cleaned up the upward bounds and the lower bounds of this triangle that I was talking about, a triangle, and it looks more of like an actual channel than an actual wedge when I actually clean it up. So, not to say it's not sort of some sort of a triangle, descending triangle. I'm not trying to say that it's not that, but it could also be like a huge bullish flag. And flags are all over the place, and I'm going to show you there's actually a bunch of bearish flags all over the place in Bitcoin. But I wanted to kind of give you like the overview. Forget about these things up here. These are just, working things, so I don't need to redraw it. But this is just kind of a big overview of what is actually going on. So remember, we have a smaller triangle inside of a larger triangle. And then we have other resistance lines too. This is the A, B, C, D, E of the larger triangle or larger bullish flag. And then there's another A, B, C. Where did it go? I guess I must have erased it. Anyway, so there's another A, B, C, D, E. That's for the smaller triangle. I must have erased it. It's not here. But so E, and then should shoot off from there. But again, there's a ton of resistance that's right here. And we're going to go ahead and take a look at that specifically. And then I'm going to try to zoom out again and kind of show you the way in which we trade a bit. So let's take a look. Let's look at like a 1 hour chart. And here we go. So on a 1 hour chart, what happened? What happened? So we had this sell-off here, and now we're running up. And the market did a ton of work on this hashed blue resistance line, which comes to the second peak of Bitcoin. It's not the ultimate peak, but it's the peak right next to it. That happened right next to it, to the right of it. So, or more recent. And so that's drawn from the top there, and it comes down here. So the market did a ton of work there. It did a ton of work here. It did some work here. And so it appears as if the market has decisively gotten through that. Doesn't mean that it can't come down again. It very well can come down again. What I do like is that this is all happening on lower volume. Not huge volumes. Some of these are are bigger, but a lot of it's kind of low. And I like to see that, because that means a lot of the sellers are gone. So if you remember, and you see some of the remnants here, we have like a bearish flag here. We have another one here, and then I think we have another one here. And there was another one in here somewhere. I think it was like a flag within a flag, if I'm not mistaken, somewhere in here. I forgot exactly where it was, but you can see we have kind of like these nesting flags, and they are in other places. Sorry, not nesting flags. We have like these fractal flags, these flag patterns which are happening all over the place. These bearish flag patterns which are happening all over the place, and at best they can just be consolidation zones that happen to be pointing up. And the reason why they're pointing up is because there's some bullish sentiment behind them. But more times than not, it actually is an actual bearish flag. So we have to keep an eye out on that. So here we actually have what appears to be another one, and we're actually sitting at the top of it, nearly at the top of it right now. Let me try to zoom in this a little bit more. And not only are we sitting kind of at the top of this channel or bearish flag, but we're also sitting at the top of this blue line. And this blue line is drawn from other tops. Okay? These tops here, which is super significant as well. Okay? They're very significant as well. So, I moved something. There we go. So, the market's going to have to do some work here. And if it pierces through and just keeps on running, well, hey, that's pretty bullish, to say the least. Now, we also have another support line right here. So, the first support line of this bluish line, resistance line of this bluish line is right here. Let's call this 11,600. The next one is 12,050. Let's call that. Let's call it 12,050. So, if it smashes through here and it smashes through the top of this channel, then it's going to have to get to this 12,050 level. If it gets to the 12,050 level, then we'll kind of reassess and see what's going on then. But this is, at the very least, there's that resistance level. Now, again, let's zoom out. So now we're at this other triangle of a triangle. So this top is the blue line, right? And we have this we have the bottom dashed line right here. Now, let's not forget we had a head and shoulders pattern back here. And based on this head and shoulders pattern, we had assumed that the price was going to make it here. 14,142. Now, this 14,142 tends to also correspond where we kind of have this D. Possibly, we're just eyeballing this D right here, and this D is of this larger triangle, or this larger bullish flag, or basically just a channel consolidation. We're not sure what it is just yet. So there are some confluence of resistance levels and various different market chart patterns that are coming to a head. Sorry, Garrett, interrupted there for a second. I had a little visitor. So yes, so where we left off, like this D that I'm just eyeballing right here, that possibly the market may kind of meander its way up, and maybe somewhere with respect to time, it'll end up at this D right here, if it makes it to this D level right here. If not, it may turn back over, and then what possibly may be actually in effect is the triangle of this dark blue line. Because remember, the triangle is dark blue line continues on, right? But the triangle of this hashed line, pretty much ends right here. I tended to extend it because I just like to extend lines to kind of see where possibly things may go. Another thing, too, as well, is that we have this support line here, this yellow support line here, where this may extend out, and then possibly the market may kind of come back down and find support right there. So these are all things that you need to keep in mind. And one of the things I find that people don't like to do, as far as our subscriber base is concerned, is they don't like to redraw the charts. You have to redraw the charts. You have to. It is imperative for you to redraw the charts, because by redrawing it, you learn an immense amount. I can sit here and talk for hours on end and tell you every bit minutia of what's in my head and what's going on, and make videos that are hours and hours long. They will not be as important as you actually drawing your own charts. And some people actually want me, I've gotten a lot of requests of people actually me publishing, you can do that here on TradingView, publishing my ideas and publishing my charts. It's not that I want to save my ideas to myself. No, if I did, I would never make these videos. I would never ever make these videos. I mean, I even question sometimes, why am I even doing them? Because it takes a lot of time, and it takes a lot of time from other analysis and stuff like that. But I tend to like it. So and I learn by doing these videos as well, because as I'm explaining things, I have to kind of water it down, and I have to, you know, kind of like re-teach myself a lot of these things too that I, you know, had these things, you know, taught to me, you know, a decade ago, 2 decades ago, and revisiting them now with all this other intelligence that I have for the past 10, 20 years, you know, you see them in a different way. And so it's a great thing about teaching and anything you teach. So you have to go ahead and you have to redraw these charts yourself, because you're going to learn them. You're going to understand them. You'll have this map in your head of what is exactly going on. This won't look like a mess to you. You'll see the intelligence behind it. You'll see why you have to have all these things here. Okay, a lot of people that make videos don't put all this stuff up here. Why? Because then they can just say, ah, this is the pattern, and they just talk about one pattern, and then that's it. And then they move on. I don't like doing that. I like showing you as many patterns as I possibly can that are reasonable. Yes, there are a whole bunch of other patterns that are going on that I'm not even talking about, for a lot of different reasons. And, you know, eventually over time, we will start talking about that. We're going to start talking about that in the basis of a larger program that we're going to be looking to build out, larger educational program that we're looking to build out. I don't want to just start putting these patterns up here and just losing people. So that's kind of like my little 2-second rant for this video, a little bit longer than 2 seconds, but that's why I really want you guys to go ahead and if you're really truly interested in the market, really truly interested in trading, you have to have your own charts. You have to draw your own charts. There's no way around it. It's as simple as that. So now, like I was saying before, if the market tends to run up and it gets through this upper green level, let's call this double green level like 14,250. Let's just call it something along those lines. Okay, it's not an immediate buy level. Okay, the market needs to run up, and it needs to making a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's like kind of like that's what's called an impulse wave or a motive wave. Depends on I mean, traditionally in the Elliott wave theory, it's a motive wave. But some people also call it an impulse wave. But you don't just buy directly on this line. You wait for confirmation. You wait for the market to run up. And then you wait for like a pullback. And then you then go ahead and start getting in the pullback. You can get, when the market runs up, you can go ahead and get into some of it. But you don't know if this is truly, really the market kind of busting out of here. Or you don't know if it's kind of like like a bullish, fool's trade. You know, where it wicks up, it tries to get all the bulls caught in it, and then it dives back down. And the market loves to do stuff like that. So what I'd like to say, kind of the way in which we like to trade is we like to trade on the support zones. When we identify support zones, we like to start trading them. So yeah, I mean, any place you go ahead and you start identifying support, you know, you then start going ahead and you start trading. So normally what happens is, as the market falls off like this, okay, you're not really sure where support is. It's like catching a knife, a falling knife. So it doesn't make any sense. So you have to wait. You have to wait days and days. You have to start seeing, well, wait a second, where is some support? And you say, okay, fine. Well, I see this here and I see here. Let me draw a line here, right? Oh, I see this top here. Oh, let me draw this to here. Okay, so then you have a basic framework. You see this bottom here. Okay, you don't know that this bottom, you know, normally these bottoms are important, but you don't know that until this bottom is made, and then you draw this line, right? And then so then you know how to kind of gauge things. So once you start putting in some of these support levels, you then start adding some capital at those support levels. When I say adding some capital, I assume you had already gone ahead and started selling amongst here, and then if you didn't, you start selling amongst these tops. Okay. And you start raising capital in order to buy at these lower levels here. So we don't specifically just buy here. We've already started buying like here and here. Okay, we started buying here. Okay, we bought a little here. You know, we buy all throughout here because we raise a ton of capital all the way up here. So even if we were wrong and the market came down, you know, I'm doing much better than a lot of other people have doing, because I sold up here. And the same thing here. If you then go ahead and you buy only up here, well, you don't know. The market could come back down. Well, if you come back down, well, if you started buying some at the support levels here, well, your average price is somewhere in between. And if you start buying only up here and then on a pullback here, well, then your average price is somewhere over here. So that's a big difference. It's a very big difference, and it can add up over time. So what is to happen if the market were not to run up? Well, if it then comes back down, the chances are we're going to start seeing some support right along this yellow line. This yellow line, once again, 11,150. Other support levels that possibly could be here is possibly a little bit of this purple line, the blue line. We have this other yellowish line right here, and over here too. And we have obviously the blue hash line, the blue hyphenated line. So these are all various different support levels too, as this were to come back down. Now, it's not to say that this won't just come whipping through here like a hot knife through warm butter. It very well could, very easily. So right now is a very wait and see market. I think a lot of people that are making videos out there, oh my God, we're running up. Yeah, okay, great. You know, it's really actually not all that big when you look at it. You know, some people are saying, oh, you know, the CME futures contract, they settled and this is showing the result. Yeah, sorry, that's BS. You should unsubscribe from them immediately. It's all wrong. So, and if not, you'll realize eventually. So, at least this is obviously all my opinion, but my opinion that's been crafted over, you know, I guess really since like 1996 or 1997. So professionally since 1999. So take it or leave it, however, which way you want. That's the way we trade. It's worked for us. And like I said, I like kind of disseminating this type of information and getting people involved and getting people understanding the way to go to trade. So my whole objective for this video was to keep it short, and I clearly did not do that. So my apologies, but I really wanted to go through this, and sometimes I just really don't like leaving information out. So again, the bigger picture here is this larger triangle. You know, upper line is this green line, the bottom line is this blue line. Again, we could possibly move up to this D level. We can then possibly come back down to this E level and then hopefully shoot off from there. I'm not really going to put any more specifics in specifically than that because, yeah, this really isn't all that big. This is really nothing in the scheme of it. Let me put things in perspective real quick. Let's actually make things on a 4-hour chart. Okay, we're here. We're talking about like these 1, 2 small bars, and look at everything here. Okay, this is what's going on. So again, really not much going on. So anyway, we're gonna leave it there for right now. Let me know if you guys have any questions, any concerns, or anything else like that. Definitely subscribe, hit the notification bell, upvote, resteam are all greatly appreciated. Talk to you later. Thanks.